Hi everyone, I'm Danielle. Welcome to Danielle's Garden, and tonight I am sitting down to plan the 2025 garden, and I'm gonna bring y'all along. These are some of my favorite videos to watch. I love garden planning, seed starting, the planning of it really fuels me. So I'm excited to be bringing y'all along for what I'm gonna do in my garden. So for me, and what you can't really film is the garden planning that takes place during the growing season. I am throughout those months mentally taking notes on things that are going well, things that are not going well, and I'm also thinking about, do I have enough to make the tomato sauce that I want, the salsa? Did these cucumbers make good pickles? So not only varieties and growing like with pests and funguses and things like that, diseases, but I'm also thinking about taste and what I want from the garden. So that is kind of the first step, is saying, what should the garden do for you? And what should you grow to be able to create what you want to create? I personally love preserving tomato sauce, salsa. I like making pickles, and I don't have a pressure canner, but I do want to start preserving beans and more low acid foods. And then I also do a lot of freezing. I know what I do and don't like to eat, and I also know the limitations of my space. So those are kind of some factors that are working in the background, as well as I am in South Carolina, zone 8. I'm pretty sure 8B at this point, and we have a very long growing season. My last growing season, this 2024 year, was 240 days, which is incredibly long. With that being said though, we get incredibly hot, and this last season we even had a hurricane, which does not happen in my area often, and our humidity is crazy. So there are other circumstances that kind of go into how I plan my garden and what decisions I am making. And as you watch other people's videos, you'll also see them making decisions depending on their areas as well. So I've got my iPad out, and this is the spreadsheet that was my garden last year. And so I grew 3 Amish paste tomatoes, 3 Jersey Devil tomatoes, a Dr. Weitch's, a Mortgage Lifter, vintage wine. I know I grew a Paul Robeson. I'm not sure if I grew anything else. I've got cucumbers, green beans, broccoli, Anaheim, banana, Big Jim, lunchbox, jalapeno, bell, and zucchini and squash and garlic. So those were the things that I planned in spaces. I also grew banana peppers and poblano peppers, and I did a lot of annual flowers. And so I did, and those ones I got from Swallowtail Seeds. I did the Vinca mix, red salvia, Cascade, Vinca apricot, purple Tyrannia, which I'm currently trying to find seeds for right now, coleus, trailing begonia, marigolds, alyssum, snapdragon, coral bells, echinacea, dusty miller, and salvia. And so those are the things that I planned for. I may have thrown in other things along the way, but those were the ones that were typed out. In review, my tomatoes did not produce well at all. I got tomatoes, they were small, they were stunted. I don't know if there was an issue in the beds. I don't know if it was the weather. I don't know if it was the lighting in the seed starting rack, which I partially think that is the case. So I've made changes to that, and am also even more so in the camp of I want more paste tomatoes and more sauce tomatoes. So that's a change that I'm gonna make this year. I also want to get into the darker tomatoes. So I did an order last fall, and I kind of focused on getting darker tomatoes or the carbon tomatoes, things like that. And then with peppers, I wanted to kind of expand. I wanted to start making my own hot sauce and having more than just jalapenos. I really want to get, my habanado created peppers, but they came too soon to the frost came too soon to fully ripen them. So those are just a couple things that I have going in my head. My garlic was a complete fail. There was a huge pest issue, and I am not going to be growing garlic this year. I do think I've decided to go and back to growing a carrot variety, growing an onion variety. I did that my first year, and I did not do that last year. And so I'm generally, having these thoughts. But when I get down into the nitty gritty, I have to decide which varieties I'm going to grow. So what I do is this is my seed box here, and a couple of weeks ago I went through on my laptop. I created a seed spreadsheet, and so I'll insert kind of a video of that spreadsheet and what it looks like. And so on my spreadsheet I have several different categories. I divided them by type of general fruit, vegetable, the variety, the brand, the year they were packaged for, and I gave them a status of mainly the ones that I know are new and if I liked them or I didn't like them. And these are the only ones that I have actual packets for. Anything that I've cleared out and used all of the seeds, I did not put those in the spreadsheet. I've got my seed box right here. And so I'm gonna run through the general varieties that I am planning on doing first before kind of the organization of them. Okay, hi everyone. This is Editing Danielle. So I did not realize, but my dog was chewing on a bone, and you can hear it in the background of the tomato and pepper seed section. So if that is going to be an issue for you, I would recommend skipping to around 13 minutes, and we will pick up later on in the vegetable list. So this is my tomato bin. This is a new seed for me. This is the Roma VF from Southern Exposure Seeds. This is a paste tomato, and I am wanting to focus on more sauces. So this one was a for sure yes for me to grow. This I'm going to be growing. This is the classic beefsteak. I just want a plain old red tomato, and this looks like it. And that's from Baker Creek. And then I also picked up, or I was given, this steak sandwich tomato. This is just a Burpees packet. This one is the Amish paste tomato. Here's my thing. I bought a packet of Amish paste from maybe My Gardener, and all of the seeds failed. So I went and bought a second one from Baker Creek, and I got plants, and then I got just a couple of tomatoes. So I think I had several issues going on. So I'm gonna stick with these seeds. I did not buy a new packet of Amish tomatoes, I don't think. This one I thought was cool. This is the yellow stuffer tomato. It looks like a pepper. If I have room, I do want to grow that one. This is the giant crimson. I believe this is the one that My Gardener has kind of revived, and so I bought it. I think it's just 5 seeds, and we'll give it a try. This is the carbon. So like I said, I wanted to do some darker tomatoes, so I'm going to do the carbon. I have heard mixed reviews on this one actually being successful. This is the Quastrali, I think is how it's said. But I'm gonna try and just see. And then I did want to do some other large ones. So this is the German pink. And then this is the Brandywine pink. And what I did is I also got the Brandywine black so that I could compare the two Brandywines next to each other. And a lot of these seeds are from My Gardener. He did a sale forever ago, and you get free shipping at a certain point. So I like that. This is the Black Crim, another dark tomato. And then I got 2 packets of Cherokee Purple. These do amazing in my area. Now, why I got 2 packets of Cherokee Purple, I don't know. Because I did not need 50 seeds. But nonetheless, Cherokee Purple. And those are sold at markets a lot. So if I did want to do the farmer's market, that's one that a lot of the like buyers would probably recognize. I'm excited for this one. This one is Black from Tula. Me doing that one. This is another one I'm excited for because it goes along with my paste tomatoes, and this is the Heinz 1350. This is not a normal like paste tomato shape, but it's a very meaty tomato, and they said that it's good for processing. The tomato that I'm not growing but do highly recommend is this Aunt Ruby's German Green. It is extremely prolific if you like green tomatoes. I am not doing the Paul Robeson this year, but I am holding on to those seeds. I also tried the Bread and Salt last year. I might start this just because if I have the space and see what happens, but I don't know if I'm gonna plan a spot for it. These are my San Marzano seeds. I grew these my first year and they did awesome. So I'm bringing them back. These are Jersey Devil. I'm gonna try them again, I think, and just see, but this is a paste tomato. I've grown Dr. Weitch's 2 years in a row. It makes a beautiful tomato. I don't know that I'm gonna grow it again, but we'll see. And then also Mortgage Lifter is a really strong beefsteak, and I really like it. One that I was disappointed though by last year, and I'm gonna not try this year, but I'm holding on to the packet, is this Vintage Wine. I thought they looked so pretty, but I'll hold on to them and we might do them another year. Then moving on to peppers. So the fun thing is that I saved some of my own seed this year, and I don't know if it's going to be successful at all, but I am going to start some of them. So I saved Mini Bell, Lunchbox, Anaheim, Bell, and banana seeds. So we'll sprout them, we'll see what happens, but I'm also going to sprout the original seeds as well so that I for sure have something recognizable. So I'm going to grow the Big Jim, the Chocolate Beauty Bell, the Cayenne, because I'm hoping to make some hot sauce, the Pimento, just looks so cute. I think I'm just gonna do one plant. I love Anaheim, so I'll have several Anaheim plants. I'm gonna try Serrano, the Cubanelle. The Chile de Arbol I think will also be good in a hot sauce. I also got the Firecracker pepper just because it's ornamental. I don't plan on actually using them. I just think they're really pretty. The Poblano I will be growing, and for sure my Lunchbox seeds, but I'm almost out of seeds, so I'll have to repurchase. And I don't know if I'm growing many more. I'll of course grow a bell pepper. And then I've got the jalapeno and the Tam jalapeno, which means this is a normal and an early. So, or is it more mild? Oh, it's more mild in flavor. So I'll grow both of these jalapenos, but one will be in the garden and one will be in the front yard, so I know them separately. And then this is my other packet of Anaheims and a chocolate cake pepper, but I won't be growing those because I got the other chocolate bell pepper. So tomatoes and peppers are the ones that I do a lot of. The rest of them are super quick and simple. So I'm going to be doing the red noodle bean. I loved mixing this on my trellis with my cucumbers. It was just so whimsical. I loved it, and they do taste like green beans. And then the beans that I want to do are the Roma 2 bush bean and the Blue Lake bush bean. Now, I have had really good luck with a provider bean. This seed is from 2022 and I still have a ton left. I'll start some and we'll see, but I'm starting to see weaker plants. Could be due to the sun, or just could be the seeds are, you know, losing their juice a little bit. For cucumbers, I need a pickling cucumber and a slicing cucumber. My plan this year is to do the Market More 76 and the homemade pickle. I have had really good luck with the Poinsett 76. So if you're in a hot climate, I would recommend this one. It does not get bitter very easily. I'm currently not planning to do any zucchini or squash. And if I do, those are direct sown. So that's not an issue for me to really plan for because they'll go in the direct sun in the flower beds. The onion that I'm going to do, and I'm going to be starting very soon, is the bunching onion. Just picked these up from the store a couple days ago. And the other onion that I'm growing has not arrived, or has it arrived yet? Oh, it's right here. I ordered some seeds. I did not order onion seeds. And then I'm gonna do the Texas grano onion. And I'm gonna start that one very soon. I did onions my first year. They didn't do great, but I did get something, so I'm encouraged on that. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts because those are currently in the green stalk. So I'm gonna hold off on that. I may do a cabbage. And if I do, I'm going to do the 1 kilo slow bolt Napa cabbage. I have a few seeds of this left. And then I'm going to do the perfect. So here's a side note. I watched a video and someone said they're called the Perfection Savory, but mine does not have an R in it. It's Perfection Savoy. I don't know. Anyways, that's from So True Seed out of Asheville, and those would be the two that I do if I do cabbage. I will not be doing kale. I get too hot too quickly, and a cabbage can generally head up and it'll be fine, but the kale will not do good. Now, I am going to do a full herb bed that I'm really excited for. I did not do any herbs last year. So I'm going to do this Ducat dill. I hope that's how it's said, D-U-K-A-T. I'm going to do the Italian parsley. I'm going to do 2 types of basil. I'm going to do just a sweet plain green basil, and then I picked up at the store, oh, I just put it in the wrong bin. I'm excited because I saw this purple basil in the store and I thought that would be really cool to do. I also am going to try some slow bolt cilantro just because I get hot, so why not do a slow bolt? I'm excited to try this sage. I've never grown sage, but I just like the look of this type of a leaf. So even if I don't eat it, it's gonna be great to smell, and yeah. Also, I'll have to pick up at the store the pineapple, is it pineapple basil? I love that stuff, but I've never gotten seeds for it. That's one of the things that I do buy at Lowe's. And then I've got some oregano that I'm gonna do as well. This one is called Vulgaire. And you'll notice I have a lot of big box store seeds mixed in. I've never had any issue with their seeds. They're not a specialty, but you know, I just can't avoid it. Like, I go to Lowe's, Home Depot all the time, and I'll pick up a seed packet here or there, and then all of a sudden I have a whole collection of them. The carrot that I'm going to be doing is not here yet. I bought a pelleted carrot seed It's called the Bolero carrot, and it's from a new company that I'm trying from Territorial Seeds, and it's supposed to be here in a couple days. I'm also buying golden beets, and I'm excited because I bought some at the farm stand near me and did like a mashed potato with them, but it was mashed beets and I really liked it, so I'm gonna grow golden beets. And then the flowers, it's my little flower container and it has flower stickers on it. I realized that I do not have any Torrenia seeds, and I really like Torrenia. It's cheap at the store, but it grows well from seed, so I'll see if I can get my hands on some. So I'm gonna do this Cosmo, Candy Stripe Cosmo. I'm gonna do several types of zinnia. So this is one that I did last year that I really liked, which was this lavender, and then I picked up the State Fair Giant Mix and the Envy Zinnia, which is green, and then this Giant Double Enchantress, which is a hot pink. I'm gonna do some alyssum. I'm gonna do some Ennis hyssop, or Agastaki, or Agastache. I'm probably gonna try some nasturtium. I just need to put them in a very sunny spot. That was something that last year I just don't think they got enough sun. I'm also going to do this Violet Queen Salvia. I really liked that last year. I'm gonna do some purple coneflower. I'm also gonna finish off this Coleus seed. This is the So Easy. I just thought it was really cool branding. So, you know, So Easy, S-O-W, okay. This is Dusty Miller seed. This is kind of one of the only seed packets from Swallowtail Gardens that I didn't use all of the seed from. So I'm gonna do more of that this year. I've got my marigolds, and I'll probably also do this black-eyed Susan vine. Now, unlike my vegetables, I don't really plan where the flowers go. They're gonna go in the garden somewhere, and that's all that I care about. So that's all that you're gonna know today. And that's all that I'm gonna know today is I'm gonna put flowers in probably this corner, that corner, that corner, the green stalk, and we'll see where else they go. But I don't plan out where they go because these are not like cut flowers. It's like pollinator garden more is what I want. Those zinnias, man, it was so cute. There'd be like little bees sleeping in them. So, and they're gorgeous and they're tall, and I really, really liked the zinnias last year. So I'm doing even more of those, and they were super easy to sprout. Like, they're like a no-fail flower. So those are the varieties that I'm doing. Let's get into the actual garden plan. Okay, so I do have those varieties obviously in my like organizational spreadsheet, but then the ones that I'm specifically gonna do, I just add a page to the spreadsheet and I just make a list. And the reason the list is helpful is because it shows me how many spots I'm gonna need and how many of each thing that I'm gonna want to grow. So for example, I'm gonna need, like, generally, I'm just doing like one thing of cilantro, one thing of sage, and it might take a couple seeds to get me like something large enough, but I'm just doing one variety is kind of how my brain works. So if I'm doing one variety of something, it needs one area in the herb side of things. Then with like tomatoes, well, if I want paste tomatoes next year, or I do this year, I'm gonna need to grow, in my mind, I'm shooting for probably 9 tomato plants that are just for paste and processing. And so that's what I do. So of all of my peppers, for example, habanada, which is in the mail, along with my golden beets and my carrot, I'm just gonna want one of that plant. Like the chocolate bell pepper, I'm just gonna probably want one. I'm gonna want one pimento, but I'm gonna want 2 Anaheim. So that's gonna take up more space. I'm probably gonna want 2 poblano plants. A big gem, I'll just do 1. Cubanelle will be 1. Chili de Arbol will be 1. Serrano will be 1. I'll do 2 or 3 lunchbox plants just for me. That's one that I gift out. People love those. I'll do probably just 1 cayenne plant. We'll see. And then I'll do a couple jalapeno plants and a couple bell peppers. Now, for when I say I'm going to plant out 1, that means I'm really going to actually later on probably start 3 seeds at least. And then 1 goes to me and 2 are up for grabs, however that falls. With the tomatoes, I'm going to do like the Roma paste tomato. I'm probably going to do 2 to 3 spots of that, 2 to 3 spots for the San Marzano, 2 to 3 spots for the Heinz, 2 to 3 spots for the Amish paste. And that will give me, you know, more than just a few. I did 3 paste tomatoes my first year. They did really, really well, and I got a lot of tomatoes. Last year, I planted out 6 paste tomatoes, and they did horribly. Like I said, I had some tomato issues. So 6 is my least that I can do in my head. Anything more than 6, I think will give me what I need. And then I had all those special variety tomatoes. I will do multiple Cherokee purple plants, and then all of the other ones, here's my risk. I do not have the space to plant 2 of each if 1 poops out. I just have to do it again in the next season. And that's just how it is. And I mean, there's nothing I can really do about it. I don't have the space. And I want to try things. And the risk of that is I'll start 3 of the, for example, I'll start 3 of those German pink tomatoes, but only 1 is going to make it out there. And it gets its 1 shot. So that's just how it is with the space that I have. So I have my list of all my varieties, and I also know the layout of my garden. So there are 2 ways to do this. On Excel, you can go in and you can make your columns shorter, and you can make your rows wider, and then you'll end up with a square grid. And then you can highlight your squares into beds. And so that's what I've done here, which I'll go into in a second. But you can just see that each color is generally a bed. If you have an iPad, you can also draw it. But here is the thing, is that the iPad will not let me screen record the Procreate app. And I don't know why, because that is my preferred method, is in the Procreate app. And let me show you. And then in the Procreate app, this can be so much cuter than what I've done, but I have made the grid paper visible, and I made each grid 1 foot because my beds are 3 feet by 5 feet. And then I'm gonna have an L-shaped bed, which is gonna be 6 and 8 feet. And then I draw those squares. Let's see, yeah, you can kind of see. And then I draw those squares out into the, and so I draw the squares out into the spreadsheet, into the grid paper. And then I also, because I put some peppers in the front yard where they get really, really good sun, that's this green area right here, so that I know that that's the yard. So this is my preferred method, but it won't let me videotape my screen, and I don't know why. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to overlay some screenshots, and maybe I'll see if there's a way in Canva I can make it cute. I'm not really sure, because I want to give you all my, you know, writing experience. But in my L-shaped bed, I want a beautiful corner of flowers, and so I'm going to do flowers in the corner. And then I'm going to do cilantro, basil, sage, oregano, and dill. And I'm going to do those down the bed. The more that I think about it, that might be a lot of space for the more that I think about it, this is looking like a lot of space for some herbs. So when I get out there, I may put the dill with all of the other herbs and make more room for my carrots. And that's just a decision that I'll make when the time comes. But generally, these are the things going in the L-shaped bed. And I will add, this is a new bed, and it's going to be 8 feet on the long side, 6 feet on the short side, and it's going to be 2 feet tall. I also am going to plan on moving my green stalk over into the main garden so that it can get better sun. But I'm not totally sure on what is going in the green stalk other than flowers. I do want flowers in there. So this is where the change comes. I have always done tomatoes in my first 2 beds. And now my first bed is full of tree roots. And I am kind of lost for what to do other than to either rip it all out, but you can't because you would have to have mega strength. So I'm thinking that I'd have to get a tiller in there or something. I'm not quite sure, but I'm moving tomatoes out of that bed because if the soil is the reason that those tomatoes were weak this year, I'm taking them out. I'm doing a lot of stuff different for my tomatoes. So that bed is going to be onions. And so for my onion bed, it's going to be at least 2/3 onion. I don't know that I need a full bed of onions. Like if I really want to commit to that for like the first bed, I think I want something pretty on one side of it. Now that last foot row, I don't know what it will be. Like I said, if I want to throw in some squash, those might get too big for that area. I could throw in some beans. The beets would be really good there, and I can easily succession sow there. Then the second bed, which has always been my climbing tomatoes, my vining indeterminate tomatoes, is now going to be peppers. So I'm going to do 1 habanada, a chocolate bell, a pimento, and 2 poblanos. And this bed gets tons of sun. That's another adjustment I'm making. Last year, where the peppers were, I don't know if they didn't get enough sun or what, but the peppers in the front bed, in the front yard, did amazing. So moving these over here, will give them prime sun as well. That's a side note. In the bed, I'm also going to do 2 Anaheim, a Big Gem, a Cubanelle, and a banana. I, from experience, know that I can get 5 peppers in 1 foot area. Peppers do well being up against each other. They kind of help to support each other, and I think that this is going to go really well. If I get worried, I can always stagger them and do like a grid, or I could add more in the middle row. So we'll see where I end up, but that bed is going to be all peppers. Then I have my bed that has my arch in it, and those are beds 3 and 4. In bed 3, I am planning to do 3 Roma tomatoes, and I'm going to plant cucumber at one corner of the trellis and the purple beans at the other corner of the trellis. I'm repeating exactly what I did last year. I loved it. And then I'm going to do 2 San Marzanos in there as well. I don't think the cucumber will create too much shade for those other plants around it, and San Marzano gets really bushy, and I think it'll do well in there. Now, I'm not sure about how well tomatoes and cucumbers get along near each other, but I don't really care, so I'm doing it. Okay, then on the other side of the trellis in bed 4, I'm going to put my Cherokee purple. I'm going to put my sun gold. That is going to be the baby tomato that I grow this year. Last year I did the rainbow blend. We really liked it. And I did super sweet 100s that I got at a plant sale. And we liked those. I've heard good things about the sun gold, so I'm going to try that one. I think that we will all like it. And then I'm going to do those Heinz. They're round tomatoes, but they're supposed to be really meaty. So they're kind of mixing in. And then I'm going to give Amish paste one more shot and fit it in there. Then in bed 5, I plan to do my steak tomato, my slicer beefsteak, my German pink, my Quasterly, my Brandywine pink, my Brandywine black, the black from Tula, and the carbon. And I can fit 8 tomatoes in the beds. So they're 3 feet wide and 5 feet down. So I do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then 2 in the middle. So it's like staggered, and it's plenty of space because I had to keep mine vined up so they don't get incredibly bushy anyways because of our humidity. I also think they might really like this bed because it gets good morning sun and even afternoon, but that scalding late heat they don't get because it's blocked by a huge walnut tree. I think it's walnut or oak branches. Anyways, I think they might like that reprieve, and then I may not have to put up a shade and risk them getting stunted by having too little sun. Now again, I think that was one of my issues. So I'm trying to resolve all of my tomato issues by doing a lot of things, and hopefully I'm on the right path. Then I'm going to do my potatoes either in grow bags or in 5-gallon buckets. I'm not sure yet. I did not do potatoes last year. I did them 2 years ago, and I really liked doing them, and they turned out well. So I think that that's what I should do again. I did do them in a bed, and I'm switching them to buckets or baskets or bags. It will be fine. Potatoes are incredibly resistant and tough, so they'll grow anywhere. So I don't think it really matters what I do with them. I also have a grow ladder, and I'm able to stage seedlings on it. I'm also able to put like baskets, and I have like a basket of I have a basket with a strawberry plant in it. It lives on the trellis. I have baskets that I previously put herbs in, and so it's just a ladder, and it kind of holds a bunch of different things. And so I'm moving that from the front of the side yard, I think, to the back of the side yard. But we'll see how exactly I try to do that, but that is my plan. Then to continue my peppers, so my peppers in the front yard did fantastic. I think they got the perfect amount of sun, the perfect amount of heat, everything. And so I'm going to repeat that this year. I have more space if I need it. I'm not planning on, I'm not writing down that I'm going to put out 4 jalapeno plants or 4 serranos. But if I have extra seedlings, that area does have enough space that I can expand out. So I'm just planning my reasonable plan. And then if I get a wild hair in 2 months, 3 months, we might be expanding the area. But my current plan is to do 2 lunchbox peppers, a chili de arbol and a cayenne, a serrano, and then 2 jalapeno peppers. And then now that I'm looking back on it, in the main bed, I don't have any bell peppers there, plain old bell peppers. So those will probably go in the yard, and that yard area will just be my pepper overflow. I love growing peppers. They're probably, I like growing tomatoes because I like making sauce and I think they're pretty. I like growing peppers because it's satisfying because they are extremely abundant plants and they put on fruit very quickly. And so it's very satisfying because you can see your work progressing in a much more obvious way than with some other plants, or some tomatoes take forever to color up. But with peppers, they don't. And it's really fun with like the big ones, like the Anaheim. You don't even see them hanging down in all the leaves, and then you go to pick one and there's like 4, and it's like, surprise. So I love growing peppers. I really like growing peppers. So step 1 was deciding what you want from your garden. Me, I want sauce, I want things to preserve, I want the things that I eat. Then you decide what specific varieties you want and why, i.e. I'm growing more paste tomatoes, I'm growing darker tomatoes that I want to try, I'm growing spicy peppers because I want to do the cayenne, hot sauce, things like that, the golden beets because I like them, and I've narrowed down my varieties. And I then go to my drawing map and I sketched out what my garden looks like, a bunch of 3x5 beds and an L-shaped bed and the yard, and I wrote in each variety in the appropriate rough amount of space that it gets. So those are kind of the 3 steps so far. So once you have your varieties chosen, the Next thing is to look at your timing of actually starting your seeds. And that is when the internet comes into play. So on your phone or your computer or whatever, Google, laptop, who knows. What you want to find out is your average last frost. And you type in your zip code. And for me and my area, it is the end of March. There is a super cool resource that like South Carolina specifically has that gives us like a 90, 50, 10% chance of like our last frost and our first frost and the dates, and it's like the super cool chart, and it is extremely accurate. So my average last frost is always the end of March. Now what you do is I'm gonna take March 22nd, I believe, is my average last frost date. So I'm going in my calendar and I found March 22nd. And on the back of some seed packets, but also the internet and every YouTuber and content creator and TikTok gardener will generally know these dates. And that is how many weeks you need in the house for that seedling. The most popular times that everyone knows are that tomatoes are 6 to 8 weeks before they need to go outside. Peppers are at least 8 weeks before they go out. Most flowers, the fast growing ones, are 4 to 6 weeks. And then you have some really slow growing flowers that are 10 to 12 weeks. Onions you can start about 12 weeks ahead of time. But then there's also things that you direct sow, like beans, squash, cucumbers, sunflowers. I don't direct seed my cucumbers because I have critters that like to eat those seedlings, but I will still like direct sow them in a container outside at that time. I don't pre-start those at all. So you have to know your average last frost date. You count back 6 weeks, 8 weeks, and 10 to 12 weeks. Based on March 28th through 30th being my general last frost, that means that I would start my 6-week seeds no later than February 15th, my 8-week seeds no later than February 1st, and my 12-week seeds no later than January 4th. That is in a couple of days, January 4th. So that is the knowledge that you will need to go and find. And it is different. Like I am in zone 8B. I am one of the first to start seeds. If you are in a zone 5 or 6, you are a month behind me. So do not start pepper seeds in February if they can't go out till April or sometimes even May, depending on your area. So that's one thing. And most people pretty much know that. Yeah. And here's an adjustment that I'm making. I am giving my peppers even more time. I want some really good pepper plants going out, and I don't put them out until the nights are 40 or higher. I don't want them getting too much cold at all. And so I will start my peppers at like a 9 to 8 week ahead of time. And then they'll still have probably 2 more weeks into April before they go outside unless we have a warm spring. So knowing that, what I do is I get a whiteboard and I write columns. I'll do the I'll do the January 4th, the February 1st, the February 15th, and like my direct sow. And I will do columns on that. I'll write columns on the whiteboard. Now, some people organize their seed boxes by those dates. I do it by type. So let me show you my whiteboard. Okay, so this is my whiteboard. And January 4th through 11th, I gave myself like a window. This is the 10 to 12 weeks. This is February 1st. This is February 15th. And then I have my direct sow in the corner. And so what my general plan to do is onions and celery, if I do celery, would be January 4th through 11th. I'm going to start my Dusty Miller, my Salvia, and my Coleus also in that 10 to 12 week range. At the 8-week mark, I'm going to do peppers, herbs, and I'm actually going to split up my tomatoes this year and try something new. And I'm going to do my indeterminate tomatoes February 1st. And then I'll also start my marigolds then. And then February 15th at the 6-week mark, I will do my determinate tomatoes, which are my paste tomatoes. I will do my bunching onions. Those grow very quickly. And then I'll do my zinnia, my cosmos, my anise hyssop, my coneflower, and my black-eyed Susan vine. And then I will direct sow beans, carrots. Remember, my cucumber is a bit unique to me. And then nasturtium and sunflower are also direct seeded if I decide to do those. I don't have a lot of luck with sunflowers. I don't know why. I keep trying because I love them. So I'll probably put some in the ground, but to be determined. And then this stays up near my seed starting shelf. And you're probably asking, why are you writing on a giant whiteboard? Because if I'm all in, you know, fiddling around, doing what I need to do, I don't want to have to grab my phone or grab my iPad or log into my computer with dirty hands or keep washing my hands and getting out my technology, getting soil in my technology, getting water in my tech. I don't want to deal with any of that. And like sometimes I'm misting things or things spill, and I do not want to get my tech dirty. So I keep this whiteboard adjacent to my seed starting area, and that way I can just look up, see what I need to grab, and it's pretty much done. I don't write down specific varieties because when I'm going through those folders, I'll know which packets to grab. But this is generally the last step. So you figure out what you want your garden to give you. You figure out your varieties. You figure out where they're going to go. And then you figure out when you need to start them. And you're pretty much golden from there. I am so excited for this next gardening season. I'm making changes that I think will benefit me and will benefit the things that I'm growing. And I'll make one last note that getting your seed starting area ready. Now, I don't know where this shelf is going to go, but the adjustment that I made is that I put these lights on. I made the adjustment of putting my lights on chains, and so I pulled it out into the main area so that I had plenty of room to work. I'm not sure if it's going to live here or if it's going to live in another nook of the house. And then I also brought all of my seed starting trays out into the yard. I hosed them down, I cleaned them out. There's no spiders, there's no gunk, mostly. Well, there's for sure no spiders. There might be a bit of residual soil. And so those are ready for me to put soil in and seeds and water. I've got my heat mats on actually right now because I'm making sure that they all work. They all do. And I have my lights somewhat strung together. In the early days, I'll only run lights on these first 2 rows. And then as I get more stuff, I'll turn the bottom of the shelf on. I will say that this shelf, I'm not sure how much it cost me. This is a black put together shelf from Tractor Supply. It was $30, $45 or $50, one of those numbers. And then the heat mat, this was my first one that I got 2 years ago. And then I bought a pack of 4 off of Amazon, and that's enough heat because I just keep the heat on to germinate. So then once something is done on the germinating area, I'll move it down and off of those heat mats. And then I have these lights are also from Amazon. It was an 8-pack, and I made sure that they could string together. And then I just got these chains off of Amazon too. Then I got two 10-packs, which was enough because I have 8 lights. This shelf is 3 feet wide, and I especially searched for one that would be able to fit a tray front to back. So I think the depth on this is like 18 inches, not 12. And that way I'm not having to store my seeds side by side. I can actually fit 3 trays on these rows instead of 2. And one other step that I did not do this year that I did last year is that I actually planned out where all of my seeds would end up in trays. Because I was doing so many flowers, I wanted to make sure that that I adequately planned for, I had this many 12 seed things, and this is what was going in them. And then I have some 40 cell, some 24 cell. And I also ordered the Green Stalks seed starting trays, the 4-pack, which are 36 cells. And those might be what I up pot into. I'm not totally sure what I'm going to do. But all of this does fit on this shelf. And so that was kind of the math that I was figuring out last year when I was buying everything. But now that I know that all of these cells fit on the shelf, I'm not doing that math. But I would advise that if you are upsizing and scaling your operation like I was, I went from one area and a 1 seed tray to all of this, that I did do the math and I figured out what could fit on the shelf, and just make sure that I wasn't going to have more plants than I had room for. And I wanted to make sure that I was using my space. Like, I set this thing up, I don't want to use just the top 2 rows. So that's just some things to consider that I'm not really getting too much into right now, but just some side notes in general. Okay, so I'm not sure how long this video is going to turn out to be. I have a lot of screenshots and screen shares and things that I want to put in it and hopefully clarify some things that I'm saying. But I just want to thank you for tagging along. I am so excited for this next season. I'm excited to share it with y'all, and I'm excited to get seed starting. I am planning on doing my onions tomorrow if I can. I went and got some new soil that hopefully is a bit finer, and I have my seeds, and I am going to do the onions in one of my big trays. So I generally have that in mind, and I'm excited to get started on the next season. So thank you so much for joining. I hope this filled your gardening cup just a little. We are going down into highs in the 30s in a couple days. So having the spring garden on my mind will be very nice when it is literally frigid outside. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.